If you're a serious real estate investor, you really need to stop saying this one thing.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0, ignition, liftoff.
Hey everyone, welcome to the Landlord Coach Daily-ish Show. My name is Mark Dolfini, host of the Landlord Coach Daily-ish Show and Landlord Coach. It's good to see you all. So yes, today we are going to be talking about if you are an investor, you need to stop saying this one thing. Are you paying attention? All right, listen. You need to stop saying, I can't wait for all the real estate defaults and foreclosures to happen. I literally want to shoot you in the face. Actually, I want to shoot you 2 times in the face. Here's the thing. Back in 2008, I lost a ton of real estate, ton of properties. This is a story that maybe for both of the people who watch this show, you've heard me say this story before. But I lost a ton of properties back in 2008 and 2009 to foreclosure, and most of them were rentals. Now, I don't expect anybody to cry for me because I lost a bunch of rental properties, although it really sucked because I only had about half of my residents paying me, but yet I still had to pay for all of my rentals. So the problem was I had people that were legit paying me rent, but they were I was not able. I had to basically rob Peter to pay Paul. I could only pay so much. It was like a fishes and loaves thing. I was getting no miracle from trying to, keep money coming in and cover all the overhead that I had with my rentals. So most of the mortgages went into foreclosure. I don't expect anybody to cry for me about that. I lost my house, my personal residence. I lost my car. And for those of you who know my story, I almost died in the hospital because I was working myself to death just trying to keep them all afloat. So when I hear people say and investors say, I can't wait for all the real estate foreclosures and defaults to happen, I literally want to shoot you in the face. Thus, having a nice day. Actually, I want to shoot you 2 times in the face because it's just you come across as desperate or greedy, and the real estate industry does not need either one of those things. Because when I lost my personal residence, a lot of other people did as well, and that displaced hundreds of thousands of families and millions of Americans across the United States, where the best that they could do is couch surf and live with someone else, double up with someone else. Now, what happened during that time was there were people who were able, and I won't say that necessarily they were savvy, but they were able to buy the real estate at very, very good prices. Okay. So there were people that were buying them up. And as a result, they made a fortune because, as the old adage goes, you don't make money when you sell real estate, you make money when you buy real estate. That's kind of the old adage. You make the money when you buy it, if you buy it right, which the adage is fairly true. So that's why, if you're pissed because you missed out on the bottom barrel, pricing, and you want to catch it this time around, don't be pissed. Be pissed at yourself, sure, but don't run out there saying, I can't wait for all the real estate foreclosures and defaults to happen, because you sound like a jackass. You sound desperate or greedy, and nothing stinks as bad as desperation. I almost want to make a spoof ad about, Calvin Klein, desperation, like a cologne that stinks like desperation. And no one wants to be around that. No one. You sound desperate or greedy. And let me just say this. If you truly believe that you can't wait for the real estate defaults to happen or the foreclosures to start happening, keep that crap to yourself. Like, don't go out there publicly saying that. What sparked me saying, bringing this up is there was a guru that I see posts stuff here and there, and I'm not going to say his name because it doesn't matter. And I'm not about ever to put somebody on blast here, but talking about almost like wetting his lips over the coming wave of foreclosures and defaults. That is just freaking disgusting to me. Like, there's people that are attached to that. There's people's lives that, like, you're banking on them and their bad financial space that they're in. And that's just disgusting to me. Now, let me just make this distinction here. There's a clear line between being a savvy investor and being a predator. If you're making good deals and you're solving problems, that's one thing, and that's not really what I'm talking about. I mean, making good deals is just part of business, right? You want to make good. I mean, it's like Warren Buffett buys companies, right? But buys companies because they're a good value. He sees the value in the company, so he buys them and potentially adds value to the company, or lets management make the decisions that continue to add value to the business, right? And that's what a real estate investor should do, is continue to add value to that property. So you want to make good deals, just like you don't want to, like, I wouldn't expect someone to make a bad deal out of guilt. Like, it's not your responsibility to take someone else's place in the wood chipper, right? If they're in foreclosure or they're upside down on their mortgage, I would not expect a smart investor to take their place in the quicksand because they got screwed up, they got upside down, right? That's not what I'm talking about here. But I'm saying about making a good deal. If it solves a problem for a homeowner, and there's a lot of wholesalers out there. Wholesalers, if you're not familiar with that, is someone will buy a property at a very low price, right? Or make an offer, get that property under contract, and resell that to someone else, resell that to an investor, so they'll make a profit on the spread, right? I don't see a problem with that either. If it solves a problem for someone, if it solves a problem for, that family. And let's say, for argument's sake, they're upside down, they're going to lose the property anyway, right? So if they could get their mortgage potentially paid off, that solves a problem for them. Even though the property may be below market value, say the property could, reasonably maybe be listed for $100,000. You're going to offer them a quick cash sale for $82,000. It gets them their $80,000 mortgage paid off. It gets them a couple thousand in their pocket, and you've got potential to make $18,000 with another investor by selling it that way. I have zero problems with that because that solves problems for everybody, right? But to make them an offer of $40,000 and making them come to the table with $40,000, just because you want to make $60,000. I mean, again, I have a fundamental issue with that. But again, if they take the deal because it solves a problem for them, maybe they were just $40,000 short, and they said, "Hey, look, I'll give you the property for $40,000. That's fine. We can do that. We can borrow from our IRA or whatever. We'll make that happen." Okay. Then again, it solves that problem. I'm not here to judge. I'm not here to, I don't want to get in the weeds in terms of what deals are good, what deals are bad. I'm just saying, does it solve their problem? And here's where it gets sticky. Like, somebody's out there negotiating for a woman who's going to lose her property at tax sale the following month, and they're jacking around, trying to make a deal with her on a wholesale, and then they still have to find a buyer for it before she loses that property to tax sale. That's unethical. That's flat unethical. Like, why would you do that? Why would you put yourself and put that woman where she loses that property? She's on the street. There is no place for that old woman to go. That's unethical, right? That's not solving problems. So, how I do business is as important as the deals that I do. So, like here in town, there are people here in my own town where I live that I won't go have a beer with them. I will not go have lunch with them. And the reason being is because I don't want to be seen with them and get painted with the same brush that everybody else paints them with, because everybody knows how they do business. Again, I have done some, bad deals in the past, which, let me go back to my original story, when I had half of my residents paying me for, all the properties that I had. I literally had half the revenues coming in. I couldn't pay all the banks. So what ended up happening was for the properties that I couldn't keep out of foreclosure, Even though those residents were paying rent, I lost them to foreclosure. The residents were pissed. I get it. I understand. They were like, well, what was he doing with his money? Well, I was doing everything I could just to try to stay afloat and robbing Peter to pay Paul and shuffling money around and doing all I could. I get it. People were pissed. They'd have a right to be pissed, but there was nothing I could do. And it was because I made some really bad decisions, fundamentally bad decisions, going into the properties, completely over leveraging. I'm putting way too much of other people's money at stake rather than my own, and not putting enough cash aside. Lots of different things. And it all goes to that free download that I talk about with the 5 mistakes download. I'll put that up at the end. I wasn't planning on putting that up today. But what I'm talking about there is the landlordcoach.com/5 mistakes. That's many of the problems that I did were related to the stuff that's in that download, that free download. So a lot of mistakes that I made, but those are some of the more critical ones, right? At the end of the day, here's the thing. If you solve problems and you go about your real estate deals with a solutions-based selling mindset, you're going to have, you have to remember at the end of the day, real estate is a people business. It's a people-centric business. Many times I end up talking to real estate investors at real estate investment associations, and they're like, yeah, I got into real estate because I really don't get along with people that well. Look, even if all you do is flip houses and stuff like that, there's still a human component to this business. Even if you're going to have to deal with contractors at some point. You're going to have to deal with human beings at some point. So I have no idea why you think just because you're not good with people that you get into the real estate business. Who's going to pay unless you're buying farmland, and you're planning on growing crops. I don't know what you expect, what you're going to do with that. So I don't know. It makes no sense to me. Anyway, that's all I have for today, everybody. But, so if you're tuning in late, what we're talking about is, these, I put investors, please stop saying this. And it is, I can't wait for all the real estate defaults and foreclosures to happen. I keep hearing that over and over and over. And it just makes me crazy. So if that's something that you are saying and that's a mantra that you subscribe to, do me a favor. Please keep that to yourself. All right. Let's finish this up with a quote of the day. I think this is quite appropriate. People first, then money, then things, by Susie Orman, the money lady. And I like her. I like some of her advice. Not all of her advice, but some of it's pretty good, I think. Anyway, that's all I have for today. Everybody have an awesome weekend. I'd love to hear your weekend plans. If you are joining me from Keith Anderson, let's do lunch. No, Keith, you live in Colorado. I'm not flying out there for lunch. You can come have lunch with me here though. Keith, Keith and I go way back. We were not only in high school together, but we were on the wrestling team together. And Keith you were about what, 25 pounds heavier than me, Keith? So we didn't wrestle all that often, but every now and again we would when we were practicing. But anyway, all right. Well, everybody have an awesome weekend. Please let me know where you're coming from. If you're watching this on replay, please let me know. Please let me know where you're coming from. I'd love to hear about your real estate in your particular area. Would love to hear about what you've got going on. But I will sign off now with please be sure to place a value on your free time, because if you don't, someone else will. But most important, there is no amount of money that will make time irrelevant. Have an awesome weekend, and we will see you next time.